Well, hello again. Another week has flashed by. God. Only seems like yesterday I was doing the other one. The last one. Sunday the 2nd of November. And it's actually 20 minutes to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's a little bit later today. But then this ET is coming here and crashing here, and we're reverse engineering their spacecraft bullshit is fairly low on my priority list of things to do for the weekend. Oh dear. Anyway, here we go. Now apparently Stephen Greenstreet from the New York Post. Now you may know Stephen Greenstreet's done a couple of other videos about this steaming pile, about ETs coming here and crashing here. He did two videos. One was about Skinwalker Ranch, which is equally as nonsensical. None of that's real either. I'll leave a link to both of those previous Stephen Greenstreet videos below. Now I don't know if his latest thing is a video or whether it's I don't look around on social media. I only really look at YouTube. But if he's done another video, I'll find that and I'll leave a link to that probably next week. But certainly worth looking at the two videos that I will link to below. That will give you some idea of how much credibility to give to this ET is coming here and crashing here codswallop. Now, Mr. Greenstreet has been reminding everyone about the claims of the fake whistleblowers in the Age of Disclosure science fiction movie that's about to hit the waste paper baskets all of the world anytime soon. Anytime now, I think. There's not going to be many people that pay for that. They're going to be happy with it, I strongly suspect. I don't know whether people are going to get a hard copy or whether they can download it, but yeah, you couldn't. I've seen a few clips of it, as I said before, and you couldn't pay me to sit through 2 hours of that rubbish. He reminds us that some of the people that appear in it, some of the people that appear in it, the claims of some of the people that appear in it. Okay, so well, it's nearly 20 to 4. I've had a busy day, so I need to get my deluxe teeth. I think these ones are not working too well. So anyway, he says. What does Mr. Greenstreet say? Mr. Greenstreet reminds us Lou Elizondo, who appears in it, claimed to be the Darth Vader of Guantanamo Bay, as I've mentioned previously on this channel. That he has telekinetic powers. You know, he's described himself as the Darth Vader of Guantanamo Bay. You know, release mumbling, Vader, as you wish. Close to have telekinetic powers. No doubt I'll be experiencing those soon, eh, Louis? He said that him and some other remote viewers, he's got remote viewing ability as well. He's an astounding chap, this Lou Elizondo. Incredible fellow. So not only has he got telekinetic powers, he can crush people's necks just with his mind. That him and another group of whistleblowers, of remote viewers, sorry, got together and they influenced some guy in Cuba or in a prison somewhere, a long way from where they were anyway. They got in a room, darkened room, and they all concentrated. They appeared to this guy as an angel or some such, and he, in the hope that he would spill his guts. You know, he would go, and what's happening? There's a huge winged being in my cell, even though it's only 4 foot across. And I'm wearing an orange suit and I'm chained to the wall. Oh dear, I must tell them everything I know. Otherwise this apparition will do something nasty to me, presumably. Or was it playing on his conscience, maybe, supposedly, this thing? It's complete and utter drivel anyway. No, there's no such thing as remote viewing. There's no such thing. You can't remotely influence people. You know, I haven't been remotely influenced. I mean, I watch YouTube to get a few ideas about these videos, but I mean, does that qualify as being remotely influenced? Anyway, you know, so Elizondo also tells us that he quit his job at the Pentagon, where he was a counterintelligence guy. I can't say I've seen any intelligence. That bit I believe. So he could spill the beans about ETs visiting Earth, you know, them coming here and crashing here and their technology being reverse engineered. Of course, he's left the Pentagon and no beans have been spilt. All he ever does is stroke his beard and say, well, you know, of course I know all about that, but I can't talk about it. You know, NDAs and, you know, clearances, you know. I think Mr. Elizondo needs to look up the definition of a whistleblower. Oh dear. Elizondo says that, you know, his favourite phrase, I can't talk about that. He loves injecting a bit of intrigue. Oh, can't talk about that. If it's classified, we're not going anywhere near that. You know, on his TV show about it. What is it, Undisclosed or something? Can't remember what that programme's called now. It's something like that, isn't it? So, you know, and he, of course, he tells us he's a ufologist. He's not a ufologist. He never has been and never will be. Yet, you know, he tries to convince us ET's coming here by showing us images of a chandelier, reflection of a chandelier in a window. Tells us it's an alien mothership. Shows us an image of two big dark circles on a field, which are irrigation circles, and tells us that huge UFOs, huge flying saucers. He's not a ufologist, though. He's not. He's completely neutral in this. Oh dear. His TV show was called Unexplained. That's right, Unexplained. You know, he's got a TV show called Unexplained. He's written a book about it. He charges people money to go and hear him talk about it. You know, but he's not a ufologist. He's not. He's never has been. He never will be. Of course, he was a UFO nut when he was working at the Pentagon. When he started up his hobby project, ATIP. You know. So Elizondo is one of the guys on this in this science fiction film, Age of Disclosure. So is Admiral. I have no personal experience with ET materials, Gallaudet, who tells us that he thinks the phenomena is paranormal. Well, he's got to say something, hasn't he? You know, paranormal means not physical, you can't prove it. There's no such thing as paranormal, of course. He says his daughter is a psychic, apparently. No such thing as psychic ability. No such thing as remote viewing. So, you know, Gallaudet, waste of time. Apparently he's also said that spirits haunt his house, Admiral Gallaudet. Sort of spirits that haunt the Admiral's house are probably Jack Daniels, you know, wild turkey. Oh, so, you know, another apparition. Yeah, put a line through these clowns. You know, I mean, they're a complete waste of bloody time. No such thing as the paranormal. No such thing as remote viewing. No such thing as psychic ability. It's all bullshit. No such thing as psionics. Drivel. Eric Davis, again, tells us that there's... this is what he said to Luna. He was sitting next to Luna at that hearing, and he made such an impression on her that she had no idea who he was when someone said, is Eric Davis going to be in the next one? She said, who's Eric Davis? But Eric Davis tells us 4 species of ETs are coming here. And I can't remember what they were. Reptilians, insectoids, greys and Nordics, probably. He produces zero tangible evidence to support this fanciful yarn. When recently asked if he had any personal experience with ET materials, Davis replied, no, I haven't. So Davis is just choosing to believe what he's been told. It's a recurring theme in this ET's coming here and crashing here business. You know, I've been told. I believe it, so I'm repeating it as truth. Well, on to Eric Davis. Complete and utter waste of time. Now, Carl Nell is also on there. Now these people, some of these people appear at the Soul Foundation as well, the Shit Outta Luck Foundation Symposium that was on last weekend, but I'll come to that. Exciting stuff later on. The Soul Foundation. So Carl Nell, he's 100% sure ETs are here. When asked how he knows, he says, look at all the people that are saying it's true. FFS. Zero evidence from ex-Colonel or Colonel Carnell. I think you can maintain your rank when you retire, can't you, from the military? If you're a major and above, you can keep the title. Like in Fawlty Towers, you know, if you watch that comedy show from the UK, Fawlty Towers, you know. Morning, Fawlty! Morning, Major. Obviously been retired 30 years. Anyway, Jay Stratton says he was followed home by a hitchhiking poltergeist. Wolverine werewolf from Skinwalker Ranch. Now, to be fair, this may be true. The other night, I was woken by a loud screeching noise. When I went to investigate, huge glowing chickens were running around in my lounge room. I was a victim of poltergeists. So there might be something to that. Of course, I had to shoo them out with a broom. Poltergeists, really? Come on, you know. You'd need the IQ of a cheese and pickle sandwich to even consider this drivel could be true. Oh, Eric Davis also said a similar thing. He had a hitchhiker follow him home from Skinwalker Ranch. So Eric Davis has been there as well. It's a bit of a crackpot club, I think, Skinwalker Ranch. And Travis Taylor is either the worst real PhD scientist on the face of the earth, or is a complete bullshitter, because what he says is complete and utter rubbish. So anyway, Eric Davis said that this hitchhiker followed him home from Skywalker Ranch. This is some sort of apparition, some sort of paranormal entity, and it haunts his house. Now I don't know whether it haunts his house to this day. Apparently, Davis tells us that it is possible to bend spoons with your mind. And it's also possible to go through a wormhole to visit dinosaurs. Now, where's the shepherd's crook? Exit stage left. Thank you, Dr. Davis. Next caller, please. So, now, Davis is in the age of disclosure, science fiction film. This is the sort of calibre of people that you're dealing with on this documentary, you know. Mind you, calibre is a measurement of thickness, isn't it? You know, so you would think these people would be of significant calibre. Okay, so I think, if nothing else, the science fiction movie Age of Disclosure, coming to a waste paper basket near you soon, shows clearly that crackpots come in all shapes, sizes and professions. Being a senior military officer or PhD scientist does not exclude them from being nutcases. Zero tangible evidence to support even one of their fanciful claims. Okay, so Matt Brown is now also saying disclosure is dead. Remember Carl Nell was saying it was dead last week? They're both right, of course. They have to be right about something eventually, I suppose. Because there's nothing to disclose. If there's nothing to disclose, disclosure's dead, isn't it? You know, it's pretty obvious. Now, Matt Brown, remember, was the originator of the ridiculous Immaculate Constellation document that Corbell got all upset about when I think it was Shermer presented it to Congress. Don't forget to tell him I gave it to you. Of course not, Jeremy. Doesn't mention Corbell at all. Corbell was sitting behind him with a face like thunder in the congressional hearing. Not that it matters, because the Immaculate Constellation document is arse paper. It was made up by Matt Brown. You know, an ET fanboy with zero tangible evidence to support any of it. Blind through Matt Brown. Now, apparently, Mr. Burlison wants to introduce a standalone bill into the House of Representatives, a UAP disclosure amendment as a standalone item. Now, this is, of course, a complete waste of time. There will always be classified terrestrial UAP tech, tracked on radar, you know, recorded on video, usually in infrared, so it looks more odd than it actually is. You know, the sort of thing. We're not interested in UAPs and UFOs. If Mr. Burlison wants to introduce a standalone bill, it should specifically relate to extraterrestrials. Extraterrestrial technology and biology. Is there any here? It should be disclosed. We're not interested in UAPs and UFOs. You know, I see something in the sky, I don't know what it is. It's a UFO or a UAP. They're real. People see them all the time. It doesn't mean they're extraterrestrial spacecraft. There is no tangible link between a UAP in the sky and extraterrestrials. It's complete and utter rubbish. So, Mr. Burlison, if you do get to see this video, think about that. You know, get UAP, UFO out of the picture. If you're going to introduce a standalone bill and you want to get to the bottom of this subject, is the US holding extraterrestrial technology or biology, then word it like that. Word it exactly like that. Extraterrestrial technology and biology. Forget UAPs and UFOs. Standalone bill to disclose any extraterrestrial technology or biology held by any company, any department, any agency, any compartment, any SAP should be disclosed. That's the way to get to the bottom of it. You know, having fake whistleblower after fake whistleblower come in and tell science fiction stories is never going to get anywhere. But I think, to be honest, I get the impression that Burlison and co have come to that conclusion. I don't think they're going to be wasting any more time with people like Borland and Nukutelli and, you know, these other people, with Matt Brown and Jake Barber and all these fake bloody whistleblowers. I think they've woken up to the fact it's all bullshit. Now, Now, of course, if he does that and he's successful with that, and he does bring this thing in, what they will find is there's nothing to disclose. They will get to the bottom of it, and there'll be nothing there. All that will be there is a few people telling science fiction stories. There will be zero tangible evidence to support ETs coming to this planet and crashing on this planet, and their technology being reverse engineered. That's what Mr. Burlison and co will find out if they introduce a bill that specifically deals with that. Don't cloud the issue. UAPs, UFOs. Now, I saw James Lakatsky. Now, remember Lakatsky was the guy that Senator Harry Reid asked to set up ALSAP, you know, a program to investigate UAPs. Harry Reid concluded the UAPs buzzing US warships were Russian. So where would he have got that conclusion from? He could have only have got it from Lakatsky, Elizondo, Stratton. These are all the people that were involved with ALSAP. For Harry Reid to come out and say that, that's what they must have been telling him. So why are they now spewing all this ET rubbish? Now they know Harry Reid is dead. He can't say, wait a minute, guys, that's not what you told me. Now I'll leave a link below to what Harry Reid, Senator Harry Reid, unfortunately he's dead now, had to say about UAPs buzzing US warships. It's Vlad, said Harry Reid. They're Russian. We know they're Russian. I'll leave a link to that below so you can read it for yourself. So, Lukatsky looks very uneasy when I saw him being interviewed. Now, I saw him being interviewed on Weaponized, I think it was. And to be fair, I've said it before, I don't have a great deal of time for Corbell and Knapp. They tend to embellish beyond reason most of the time. But they were pushing Lukatsky. You know, they did actually try questioning him. Lukatsky was squirming when asked about recovered ET craft, and when questioned by Knapp and Corbell, Knapp pointed out that the alleged recovered craft had no engine, no fuel, no wings. And then George Knapp said, you know, is it a rock or is it a spacecraft? So good on you, Mr. Knapp. And Corbell was pushing as well, which makes a change for these two because they're fanboys, you know. They don't tend to do that. So good on them if they've turned a page and they're actually looking for the truth instead of looking to line their pockets with science fiction rubbish. So Lukatsky seemed more interested in showing his book. He's obviously said to him, look, they've obviously said to him, you're not going to use this to publicise your book, because Lukatsky held it up with the back to the camera and he said, I'll just show you the back just quickly, and they sort of looked at him and he took it away, you know. So he was there to publicise his book, Lukatsky. That was the only reason he appeared on there. He said nothing, absolutely nothing. He's got nothing to say, of course, because it's all science fiction rubbish. So Lukatsky seemed I don't know if scared is the right word, agitated maybe. And he continued squirming and word fencing. You know, the bottom line is Lukatsky, just like all the other bullshitters, can't talk about the details. He said, I can't talk about the details. Well, of course they can't, because there are no details. Once you start talking details, you're talking stuff. Sorry about this, there's some mosquitoes around because it's later in the afternoon. Because as soon as they start talking details, details can be checked. The last thing any of these people can do is provide details. So Lukatsky provided zero tangible evidence to support anything he said. The impression I got was that Knapp and Corbell thought Lukatsky was a bullshitter. Yeah, he's just a waste of time, just like all the other. I really can't talk about that. Fake whistleblowers. All the other bullshitters. Now, when pushed, Lukatsky tells us he can't. Now, I thought this was quite amusing. And I probably should have intersected this page between the previous two. But this is a mumbling production, you know, I spend about half an hour on this. About an hour, actually, to be fair. When pushed, Lukatsky tells us he can't reveal any details. So Corbell and Knapp were asking him for details. He can't reveal any details because enemies of the US have spies in the US military contracting companies that are feeding information back to their home countries. Now, that makes zero sense, does it? Because if there are spies working in these aerospace companies that are supposedly working on reverse engineering alien spacecraft, and they're feeding all this information back to their countries, all these enemy countries, as Lukatsky put it, he called them enemies, why does it matter if he gives any details? If these enemy states all have this information already through their comprehensive spy network that's in the US military-industrial complex, why does Lukatsky need to keep the details to himself? That makes no sense, does it? As I said previously, you know, he can't give any details because details can be checked. As soon as Arrow or somebody starts looking at this and they're checking the details, they're going to say this is all science fiction rubbish. There's nothing to this. So, you know, why can't Lukatsky spill the beans? If the enemy states already know all about it, what's the problem? There are no beans to spill, is the bottom line. Now, the Soul Foundation, the Shit Outta Luck Foundation, held their 2025 Symposium last weekend. There were a few of the usual suspects present or appearing remotely. Beatrix Villarroel, Carl Nell, Diana Pasulka, Jacques Vallée, Gary Nolan, Jake Barber, Tim Gallaudet, Dylan Borland, Jeff Nucatelli. Now, there were others I'd never heard of, and to be honest, I wasn't going to put the time in to do any research on them. I only looked at the names that you would have heard of. To be honest, you could not pay me to listen to these clowns, let alone pay to go to America and sit in an audience for 2 days and listen to all this complete and utter rubbish. So Carl Nell apparently talked about Roman gods, FFS. That's because he has no personal experience with extraterrestrial materials, technological or biological. Has never seen an ET spacecraft, never seen any ETs. He says listen to all the people that are telling us it's true. He's got no tangible evidence to present that ETs are coming here, so he talks about Roman gods. Well, I suppose he's got to talk about something, hasn't he? Complete waste of time. Diana Pasulka talked about miracles, apparently. Put a line through gods, demons, angels, miracles, or drivel. It's a miracle anybody could be bothered to listen to that, I think, to be perfectly honest. I couldn't sit through an hour of Pasulka talking about that nonsense. Again, zero evidence of visiting ETs. Off at a tangent. Let's talk about miracles, you know. Jacques Vallée had zero evidence of visiting ETs. He was one of the presenters there. So he's going down the let's think beyond nuts and bolts path, because nuts and bolts are physical and tangible, and you can prove those. It's tangible evidence. There is no tangible evidence, so Vallée says let's go down the paranormal route, the consciousness route, more nonsense, of course, complete waste of time. These things are fast, aren't they? It was Gary Nolan. You know, I had ETs in my bedroom for weeks on end. Oh, maybe it was just a dream. Gary Nolan, complete waste of time. Jake Barber, you know, want to see a chicken egg on a bit of fishing line dragged over a carpet, or a picture of a flock of birds, you know, Jake Barber. What about my electronic dog whistle? You know, it's a rolled up garage door with some reticulation pipe wound around the end, mounted to a little AUV. Painted beige, desert beige for effect. Complete waste of time. Jake Barber, Gary Nolan. Drivel. J.D. Vance apparently said, if someone sees an alien, maybe I see an angel or a demon. Now, as I've said before, angels, demons, put a line through anything, anyone. If anyone says they see angels or demons, put a line through what they're saying. It's complete drivel. Have you ever seen an angel or a demon? You know, it's apparently Tim Burchett has been pushed to the into the background of the UAP secrecy task force. And I strongly suspect that's because he said some time ago that he thought that these ETs, these UAPs, might be demonic. And I think as soon as he said that, any credibility Tim Burchett may have had went straight out the window. Demonic, demons, angels, and drivel. No one is going to believe that. So Mr. Burchett, again, Shepherd's Crook, exit stage left. Now, apparently Dylan Borland was at the Soul Foundation as well. You know, he's the guy that said that he saw a triangle, flying triangle, and he drew a sketch of it. It was immediately put into a SAP, and it proves conclusively we are not alone in the cosmos. His hand-drawn sketch proves that conclusively. Borland was there at the Soul Foundation Symposium, presenting there, was he? What a complete waste of time that man would be. The whole thing is a joke. Is it Jim Nicatelli was there too? Remember, he's the guy. You know, he's the guy that told us a huge flying red rectangle he saw. You know, his colleagues saw a huge flying triangle. They wrote down their testimonies. Apparently, there's a few of them, 5 or 6 of these guys. They wrote their testimonies down for him. Certainly, Jeff, I'll write you a testimony. I saw that, yeah. Gave all these testimonies to Nicatelli, and he lost them. They'll get them. Not that those would be tangible evidence of a visiting ET, of course, but it's just another hole in the colander, isn't it? These UAPs, ETs coming here and crashing here, colander. You know, these stories have more holes than a colander. So these are the people that the Soul Foundation is putting forward. You know, Jake Barber, Nicatelli, Borland. It shows you that the Shit Outta Luck Foundation is exactly that, isn't it? They're shit out of luck if they think they're going to be presenting any tangible evidence of visiting ETs. All they can do is put people up that are going to tell science fiction stories. People that are going to talk about Roman gods, FFS, demons and angels, and miracles. What a complete and utter waste of time. As I said probably last week, I might have mentioned it last week actually, the only useful thing out of it would have been the expense account, you know, a few jollies, a few drinks, a few nice meals, you know, hookers on the credit card, personal services. That's the only useful stuff that would have come out of that symposium. J.D. Vance does at least seem interested in the subject. He's seen no tangible evidence of ET visiting Earth. He says he's interested in it, and during the next 3 years he's going to try and get to the bottom of it. So far he has seen 0 tangible evidence of visiting ETs. That's the Vice President of the United States. Trump has said on at least 2 television interviews that personally he doesn't believe in aliens. Not the sort that come from outer space anyway. One's hopping over his wall, sure, yeah. One's from outer space, not so much. So if Trump and Vance haven't seen, are unaware of any of this going on, it's not going on, is it? No alien spacecraft have crashed here. No alien technology is being reverse engineered here. No alien biology is being studied here. If those guys don't know about it, it's not happening, is it? Now, apparently, Senator Burlison has dumped Grusch as his advisor. Now, I saw this somewhere. I don't know this as fact, but it would not surprise me because, Grusch vetted Borland, and the best Borland come up with is I saw a triangle, I drew a sketch, it was put into a sap, and it conclusively proves we're not alone in the cosmos. And of course that's complete and utter drivel, isn't it? Now, Senator Burlison is obviously not an idiot. You know, he's got to be a pretty smart guy. So if Grusch has told him that, and you know, he's seen and heard what Borland has to say. I mean, I don't know whether he was in that hearing, was he, Burlison? He probably was, when Borland told that story. You know, he would say, look, Grusch, you know, I've hired you so you can steer me in the right direction with regard to people it's worth talking to. These people are not worth talking to. In your opinion, they're worth listening to, rather. In my opinion, they are not worth listening to. They're just more and more science fiction stories, more and more fake whistleblowers, more and more bullshitters. So I think it's time you and I parted company. Grusch, off you go and sell some real estate. Now, that would not surprise me in the least if that's happened. I would have Grusch working for me as an advisor on this subject. It would be a complete and utter waste of time. So there we go. That's as much as I've seen this week. In the wonderful world of ET is coming here, crashing here, and we're reverse engineering their spacecraft bullshit. I saw something else. What was that? And I forgot to make a note of it. It's just sort of, I can sort of vaguely see it there. I'm using my psionic ability. What was that? It's gone. It's going to have to be in next week's. But it was one of the channels, one of these fanboy channels, where they have a panel of people and they're talking about this stuff, and they said something that made me fall about laughing, and I obviously forgot to like that video, because when I went through the videos that I'd liked, I sort of liked them. Then I look through them, then I make notes, and then I unlike them. I obviously forgot to like that one, because it was a hoot. It was the Useful Idiots channel, you know, the guy that loves Elizondo. Elizondo uses him as a useful idiot to sell books and get TV appearances. Anyway, it's that's only a bit over half an hour, isn't it? That's what was it, 35 minutes, something like that. Another short one this week, but you know, it's circling the drain. This subject. I've said it so many times, but it's slowly circling the drain. Now you've got people like Carl Nell and Matt Brown, you know, bullshitters in their own right, saying disclosure is dead. You know. The state is never going to disclose. And of course they can't, because there's nothing to disclose. Everybody already knows the truth. The truth is, there's nothing to disclose. ETs are not coming here and crashing here. That's the truth. As I've said before, they can push for disclosure for as long and as hard as they like. You know, because there's nothing to disclose. They can push for disclosure for years, decades, you know. Unless ET actually comes here. But if they did, I very much doubt we would need to disclose it. I think everyone will be aware of it. It'll be on every TV channel. It'll be streamed by everybody with a mobile phone that could see what was going on. That's what would really happen if ET came here. So there we go. As always, if you've struggled through the video all the way to this point, many thanks for watching. And maybe I'll catch you again. Maybe I should get chairs. Get rid of these bench seats. What do you reckon?